Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Ciotti. Everybody calls me Sir. That's all I got. And now I'll turn it over to the real FPV expert.
Hello, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. That's my dad. What do you think of that? You will respect his authority.
Now, Aaron, they've met me before.
You were just watching the 802. Oh, I put the text up in the corner. That was the 802 2S build on the GemFan 1610s. The file from it on the HQ props is corrupted because HDZero sometimes corrupts the files, which is super annoying. But yeah, that was on the 1610s. This is the continuation of what we were talking about on last stream, taking a look at these HQ ultralight 1.6 by, I want to say 1.2, with the 1.5 millimeter hole. These are not better balanced than the GemFan 1610s, which is not a bad thing. If you want better response time, arguably better flight performance from a lighter weight prop, it's the HQs. If you want more durability with a little bit more thrust, it's the GemFan 1610s. Yeah, in a perfect world, all the propellers would be perfectly balanced, but that's just not the deal. Some of the other HQ ultralight props seem to be a little bit better balanced than some of the newer GemFan props, the GemFan 1210s and the 1219Ss. But yeah, in this case, there doesn't seem to be a difference in balance. The HQs might actually not be as well balanced, if I'm honest. It's really, really, really close. The way that I test the balance of propellers is to crank the PID tune way up to the point where the PID tune is like at the absolute limit of what's possible. The PID tune was there, and on the GemFan 1610s, it was just starting to get grumpy. It was a little bit more grumpy on the HQ props. That being said, the degain slider was all the way up at 2.0. Like, the PIDs were outrageously high in order to get them to that point. So if the HQs are a little bit better balanced, it's not much. And so, yeah, I don't think the balance is a selling point between one or the other of these propellers. It's all about durability versus flight performance. The HQs are lighter, the gem fans are heavier. Heavier is almost always more durable. In this case, it definitely is. The lighter props, though, are going to give you better response time. They're going to feel a little bit more crisp in the air. The gem fans still feel great. I might go back to the gem fans, to be honest, for a little bit more thrust as well. But I'm going to fly them more. Then that's on the 2S rig. I have some flight footage today from the 1S builds, flying them outside. And the 1S builds definitely benefit from the lighter weight propellers. The 2S build, though, it seems to have enough grunt for the heavier propellers. So I think the 2S builds are going back to the 1610s. But I will, next time I fly these, I'll do the same thing that I did today, which is that I'll put a couple batteries through it on the HQs, and then I'll switch over to the gem fans to try to feel the difference. If you're trying to evaluate stuff, that's the way to do it. Fly one or the other, put a bunch of batteries through it, and then your very last battery you switch over. That's the best way to be able to actually feel a difference between stuff, because it's subtle. So there you go. That's what you're watching on live stream. This 802 rig, it's just so good. Oh my god. The 1002 setup is great and all, but for analog, at the weight that these are, I don't think we need the 1002s. I think 802s are the way to go. You can feel that it's a little bit lighter and it's still got plenty of power. Walk snail setups, HDZero setup, digital setups, 1002s for sure to carry the extra weight. But yeah, man, these analog 2S rigs with these 802s are magic. This is the most fun thing to fly outside the house for sure. At the moment, and maybe forever. Tonight we're gonna take the AIO5 65mm build and move it into the 75 Pro frame. We did this build on the live stream a while back. It's basically a Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop, but with the AIO5. So Cockroach V3 frame, Weebleed 0702 40,000s. At the moment, we did some prop testing with this. At the moment, it's on the HQ 1.2 by 1.2, I guess they are, bi-blades. Flies great. Runtime sucks. 2 minutes runtime, and the image quality is not better than analog enough to really warrant this continuing to exist. Outdoors, the better video quality of HDZero makes more sense. And so we're going to put it into an outdoor setup. This doesn't get flown because if I'm going to fly inside the house, there's no scraggle. I know where everything is, right? You fly inside your house. It's the same place every time you fly, hopefully. Having better image quality doesn't really do you any good. You know where stuff is. There's no scraggle. There's no things that are going to surprise you. And an analog setup like this is going to have longer runtime, better flight performance, less weight, all that good stuff. So this doesn't necessarily make sense for me because I have analog goggles. If you don't have analog goggles and you got into the hobby or just bailed on analog and you're all HDZero, this is amazing. But for me, owning analog goggles, I don't fly this. But outside where there's scraggle, this AIO5 with the better image quality makes an awful lot of sense. The Meteor 75 Pro frame and bigger prop combo is the best 1S 75mm rig I've ever flown outside. I like it a little bit better than the regular 75mm stuff on the 40mm props. The 75 Pro is on 45mm props, a little bit bigger, a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more power. Yes, the frame is significantly heavier, but it makes up for it. And so on this analog build, the second VTX in a row burned up. So this has just been sitting. And so we're going to pull the center canopy out, pull the center canopy out of this, drop it in there, and away we go. I'll fly this in the house a little bit tonight, and then tomorrow I'll fly it outside a bunch, and yeah, we'll see how it is. As far as I'm concerned, this is what you do with an AIO5, HDZero AIO. If you have analog goggles, right? If you have analog goggles in the house, yeah, it's analog is the way to go. It doesn't really make any much sense to do HDZero. Walk snail, you could argue, makes sense because the image quality is so much better. It's like a little mini Cinewhoop. But yeah, HDZero to me, it's like the same latency as analog, right? So there's not much of a benefit. Uriel says, I thought we decided it should be 2S. This board would explode if you put 2S through it. It's only a 1S board, so this is what we have to do with the AIO5. Right, Dad?
Do I have to raise my hand to ask a question?
No.
I can just ask a
just
question?
Scream it out.
65 millimeter versus 75 millimeter. That's the distance from motor axle to motor axle?
Yep.
Right to left and front to back. They're symmetrical?
Diagonal.
Oh, it's the diagonal distance is 65 millimeters.
Or as Nick Burns puts it, motor post to motor post. There's
motor post to motor post.
One of the bigger micro reviewers on YouTube. Right. Every single video he says motor post to motor post is such and such.
Right.
And it's just he does it, and he does lots of videos, and so it's just like it's like a soundbite. We should get that soundbite. That's a great soundbite.
And then
put it on the board every time I talk 65, 75.
There we go. 45 millimeter propeller. That's tip to tip on the propeller. Okay.
That's what she said. In the chat, Doubles FPV was first. Crom, Curtis Hayes, Schnauzer FPV, Brian Tegger, Curtis Hayes again, David 4F, Johnny V, Smoking Dog Cujo, Rockcrawler, Uriel, Douglas 6, Jeffrey Long, Anonymous, Mr. Huggy. Mr. Huggy, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you, brother? Scotty Scott, Red. Wow, how do you say that? Cowem? I think it's Red Cowem. Green Thumb FPV, J Deegs, Brand Anderson, Doubles FPV, Takia Skona, Curtis Hayes, Sulfur FPV, LOL the Kiddison, CMYK FPV, what's up, dude? Felix Torres, Christian Muka, P. Richard Scott's in the house. What's up, Patrick? I'm going to Patrick's tomorrow, and I'm going to bring the 2S rigs, and it's going to cost him a bunch more money. Patrick recently built 4 Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoops with 3 with Weebleed 702 32,500s, 1 with the 40,000s. The one on the 40,000s, I had him buy a set of the Weebleed bells with the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft, and I switched the bells over for him. The 32,500s that he bought already have the 1.5 mil motor shaft. He is all 1.5 mil. Cockroach frame, Mobula 6, 2G4, all the stuff. And he's been doing 6 a day, and he hasn't broken anything yet. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks, and yeah, he hasn't broken a single thing yet. He's like, how?
So you're going to go tomorrow and break stuff for him?
No, I'm going to bring... I can't break them either.
Oh.
I'm going to bring the 2S build. He's on these 1S build, these little guys. And I'm going to bring this 2S build, which he hasn't flown yet, which is even better outside for outside stuff. And he's got, he's going to die. And so, yeah, that's going to be super fun. CMYK again. Who else is here? Andrew Taylor, Smirk Station, T-Blood, Cole Powers, Elias, Lights Camera Coffee. That's a fun YouTube name. Chaser FPV, Steve Sims, Morton Upshot, Mark, and Skull 901. What's up, friends? Thanks for coming. Type CiottiFPV into the chat if you want me to read it, or do a super chat. CiottiFPV.com is my website where you can support me. This is a completely crowdfunded thing, so that whenever I review stuff, you guys are the ones that, you know, are keeping the things going here. So if it sucks, I'll tell you it sucks. If it's great, I'll tell you it's great. I don't care if a company does or doesn't send me free stuff. It's great if they do, but if they stop sending me free stuff, I don't care, because you guys support me, not them. Patreon, as it says, helps me out the most. Somebody join the Patreon. It's only $3 a month, 10 cents a day. It's the best way to support me. It's how I continue to do this full time. It's how I can buy stuff to test it. The more stuff I can buy, the more stuff I can test. Etsy has some really fun stuff you can buy: stickers, hardware, full builds, more stuff coming soon. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. I can help you fly better, build better, tune better. You know, I put all the info out here on the live streams, but in a half an hour or an hour-long session, you can get a ton of knowledge that's exactly what you're looking for, rather than having to watch hours and hours and hours of live streams or going to Facebook groups and Reddit and getting primarily bad information. So Fiverr is an awesome way to really learn a lot really fast. Teespring's got some fun shirts and apparel. PayPal if you want to super chat me to support me, but you don't want YouTube to take 30%. And then all these affiliate links, yo, use them! Amazon, Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, We Bleed FPV, Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Hazingi, oh my god, Brain 3D, HDZero, Fly, Wooly, Max, Banggood, Camera Butter, AliExpress. What do you think of that? Use someone's affiliate links. It's free money, and it helps people do things that you can watch on YouTube for free. Cool? That's how you keep the show on the road, my friends. Curtis Hayes tagged... Oh god, I threw up. Curtis Hayes tagged me and said, thanks for building what I suggested. Interested to see how you do it and how it flies. Yeah, me too. Yeah, Curtis Hayes, in the previous live stream, I think we were kind of spitballing about the AIO5 build previously. Maybe that's what got him thinking about it, or maybe he was just in general thinking about it. And he mentioned maybe putting the AIO5 into a 75mm build. And at first I was like, I don't know about that. And then I kind of started to think about it, and I was like, wait a second. When we think about the benefits of the AIO5, right, that actually makes a whole lot of sense. So, yeah, Curtis, thank you for that. CMYK says, what's up? CiottiFPV and Santa Ciotti. Uriel says, has your dad some RC experiences?
Sir Santa Ciotti.
Looks like a wingman. Do you have any RC experience, Dad?
We raced remote control cars for years, right?
Yep.
We started with...
Remember what they were?
The very first one that I bought you was a pre-built one. Ready to go. It was... I got the car and the remote, put batteries in it, and started driving it.
Oh, was that the JRX too?
Oh, no. Way before that.
I don't remember that.
This was... I remember discussing this with my coworkers at the Plasma Physics Lab. My intention was to buy you one share of Apple stock. This was back in, oh my God, 80s probably.
But instead you bought me a worthless RC car.
Well, everybody that I worked with said, "Oh, don't waste your money on Apple stock. Buy him an RC car. He'll love you for the RC car. He'll hate you for the Apple stock."
Jesus Christ.
You'd own this house right now if I had bought you that Apple stock.
And a bunch more.
So then we bought, now I forget, before the JRXT, before the RC10, we bought this. It was like a pickup truck type thing.
USA
it was all
One?
plastic.
Oh no, the Bigfoot. Tamiya Bigfoot.
That's what it was. Yeah. We bought that. Remember, I modified the battery tray to put 2 batteries on it, and it was so heavy that it immediately broke.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Then we went back to 1 battery. Nike had batteries at the time.
Oh right.
Long time ago. Great big C cell. Yep. 6 C cells.
I used those in the airsoft guns. Still.
Yeah.
They were good in the cold.
Yeah.
They were the only batteries that would perform in the cold. That's why we ran them.
Oh right, yeah. Sure. Then I bought. Remember that gas-powered?
Oh my God!
4-wheel drive.
What a pain in the
USA
ass.
One.
Yeah.
Horrible to try to run. And then we took it up to my brother's house, and the batteries and the transmitter failed. And when I got the damn thing started, the throttle went full on and just stayed full on until the carburetor popped off the top of the engine.
Jesus, I don't remember that.
2-stroke engine. Oh yeah. That I only ran that 3 or 4 times. The shame was an expensive truck.
Remember that shit they ran on? It was nitromethane, I think. Wasn't it?
It was. Well, it's
pink
model
stuff.
airplane fuel.
Right.
So it was a nitro combination of some type of ethanol or gasoline and nitro.
I remember that shit being nasty.
Interesting smell though,
yeah.
wasn't it? Very unique smell. Yeah. And then I think that was the last one I bought. And then you got involved in real-sized cars, and that was it. Oh no, we did.
Well, so there was the team associated RC10. So then it was buggies. This is this is when those buggies were like new. This is when they first came out, right?
Yes.
So the Tamiya Bigfoot was all plastic.
Yeah.
And then the USA one was just expensive.
Yeah,
But
the
the
RC10,
the Team
was an
Associated
aluminum chassis.
at the tub, right?
Yeah, and then the JRXT had the carbon fiber
right.
flat plane that you bolted everything on.
So
to.
there was so it was the two buggies. Team Associated RC10 was the first buggy because that was the first one that came out, and then the Losi JRX2, that was their buggy, and so that most of my memories are us racing those because they were somewhat like evenly matched.
Yeah.
And then the JRX-T came out, the Team Losi truck, and that was really cool. But it was like just like a big buggy.
You know what? I have a picture of the two of us sitting on the front step of our house, holding our RC cars. But geez.
Good luck finding it.
Yeah, what year was that?
Jesus.
I'll find it. We'll get it to you.
Yeah, so that's our that's what started the RC madness.
And then we did kite flying.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, kite flying.
Oh, kite picture didn't last long.
So yeah, some RC stuff. The USA one was always that oh my god, it was just outrageous. That thing was such a it was very dramatic, right? It made all this noise. It was big and fancy, and like it was physically bigger than the buggies and the JRXT and stuff, and it was just this like thing. And then remember we tried to do that boat.
Did these turn up well?
A little bit. Not really.
It's not focusing on it.
It's manual focus. The focus is locked, but
right. So that's Aaron's first day of school.
It's the first day. Oh my god. Remember we tried to make that boat, that tugboat?
Oh, we did. We got that running. We got that thing working
once, right? And then it sat. Something happened. I remember it wasn't right, and then we never.
There was the superstructure of the tug. Was it a tugboat?
Yeah, it was a tugboat.
The superstructure of the tugboat. Remember Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
He took it because he was going to paint it.
That's
never
right.
got it back. Thanks, Tom. Like I'm sure he's watching.
Right. Felix Torres says, my 2G4 falls out of the sky with anything higher than 4 volts. Once it's under 4 volts, it flies fine. Any thoughts? That's super weird. Well, when you say falls out of the sky, like when? So you plug a battery in that's 4.35, for example. How does it get into the sky? Like you arm it and it just explodes up into the air and then falls out of the sky? Or you start throttling it up and it flies fine and then you add more throttle and it falls out of the sky, right? Like how does it get into the sky? I need to know that. Crom says, I've had good success recovering corrupted HDZero files with a program called Untrunc, Untrunc. Untrunc. All right, if they have a Mac version of that, I'll give it a try, because it's when these files are corrupt, what basically happens is that usually you pull power during the file, and certain file formats like MP4, they have to have a little code in the file for like the start and for the end. And so if you just pull power, it doesn't have a chance to write that little bit of whatever code in there to say file is done, and then it's a corrupt file. But all the data is there, right? It's a 732 megabyte file, but it just doesn't have that little end bit saying we're ending now, and the whole damn thing is not corrupted, or it is corrupted. On the HDZero goggles, you can set them to not record in MP4 and to record in .ts, transfer stream. The nice thing about transfer stream is it doesn't have that issue. The pain in the ass about transfer stream is that it's a bitch to work with on your desktop. It's very slow. You know, MP4s have like a compression that allows the computers to just deal with them better and play previews and thumbnails and all that shit. Transfer stream is a total nightmare to work with on your desktop. If you're dumping everything into Premiere, it's fine. But like if you're just trying to sort through a bunch of files on your desktop, transfer streams suck. Like you kind of have to open them up in VLC, so it just ends up taking a lot longer. So I When I got the HDZero goggles, it was set up in transfer stream, and it was a pain in the ass. I moved it to MP4. I lost a couple files. I went back to transfer stream. I remembered what a pain in the ass it was, and I went back. I'm now back to MP4, and I'll probably stay on MP4. Because all you have to do is unplug the quad before you power off the goggles. That works 99% of the time. I did that today, but it still didn't write the end of the file. I guess what happens is sometimes when you unplug the quad, the goggles keep recording. Maybe I like unplugged the quad and then too quickly turned off the goggles or something, but it really does not happen often. So there you go. The rest of Crom's comment is you give it a good video from the same session, the corrupted file, and it rebuilds the index somehow. Very cool. Index, that's what it's called. The index is like the front and the end. I think the index also says how long the file is, right? 4 minutes and 22 seconds. You know what I mean? Uriel says, do we got that? Steve Sims says, what length exposed wire to shorten up a T antenna for receiver? It depends on what receiver. It depends on if it's a 900 megahertz or if it's a 2.4 gigahertz. The easiest thing to do, so if it's 2.4, the easiest thing to do is to scrounge around in all your old stuff and try to find an old FR Sky antenna or any 2.4 antenna, or 900 or 5.8, whatever. Any of these, wavelengths. If you can either buy or find another antenna that's not ruined, that's that same wavelength, right? 2.4, for example. That's the measurement. That's the length. There is no specific. Well, I mean, there are specific lengths, but the full wavelength for 2.4 is going to be obnoxiously long. All of our antennas are either quarter wavelength or fifth wavelength, so they're all shortened. So, like, if you Google search what's the right antenna length for 2.4 gigahertz, the articles are going to say it's this length for full wave, it's this length for half wave, it's this length for quarter wave. And that's okay, as long as you're dividing it up in a proper fraction, as long as you're not just randomly cutting the length of the antenna. So yeah, search around figure out what wavelength, 900, 2.4, or 5.8, and then dig around in your old stuff. Or if you have another rig that's on that same wavelength that has an antenna on it, and you've got the length right there. FR Sky has used quarter wave and fifth wave in the past. So which is a little confusing because you'll be like, I know this is a 2.4 gig antenna, but this one's a little bit shorter than this one. That's why. One of them's fourth. I think the RXSR was the first one that went to a fifth. That went to 1/5. Previously, the XSR, I want to say, was quarter wavelength. So the RXSR was a smaller receiver, and all of a sudden the active element was a little bit shorter. It was like, that's weird. ELRS antennas, I don't actually know what they are. I don't know if they're quarter or fifth. But yeah, that's the easy button. If not, just Google it, and Google will give you the actual measurements. Off the top of my head, it's maybe like 32.3 millimeters or something like that. But when you Google it, you'll find it. What's the correct length for a 2.4 gig antenna? We'll find a bunch of articles. You could probably even Google like correct length for ELRS antenna. Well, there you go. I was close. 31.2. For quarter. Yep. For quarter wavelength, it's 31.2. I was pretty close. What did I say? 38. So yeah, there you go. Google got Joe back. You're not going to be able to cut it to 31.2 exactly. Just get it, tiny little bit longer than 31. You'll be good to go. Good question, brother. Morton Upshot says, my wife is watching. Can you say hi, Teresa? Hi, Teresa!
Hi, Teresa.
YouTube did the thing. Scrolling back up. Elias says, do you know what the lowest budget analog goggle is that has DVR? I do not. But it's probably made by Eachine. No. I mean, it might be the Hisingi goggles that I reviewed a little while ago, but I think you should get the Eachine goggles. Eachine does an amazing job with their analog goggles, with their cheap analog goggles. So 008 it might be 008 something or other. Somebody in chat is typing it right now. It should be like $90, I think. I want to buy an Air 65, but I don't have a goggle. Walk Snail Quad is too heavy for me. Had it a month, and it's great, but too heavy. Here's another option for you, Elias. If you buy a new set of Eachine whatever goggles, at some point when you go to sell those, you're not going to get much money for them. If you buy a used set of Fat Sharks at this point, like HD3s, like what I run, or HDOs or HDO2s, when you go to sell them someday, you will get pretty much exactly what you're paying for them now. Fat Shark goggles have like bottomed out. And so like right now, if you buy a set of HD3s, you're going to pay exactly what you would have 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And so if that helps, and they're a lot better. Like the super cheap box goggles that you're going to get, they're going to hurt your eyes. And like an Air 65 flies really good, and you're going to become obsessed, I'll bet. And yeah, you're going to take a hit when you go to sell those and buy a proper set of Fat Sharks because you're going to become obsessed. So in my opinion, buy a set, spend a little bit more money now, buy a set of used Fat Sharks, and then a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll be able to sell them for exactly what you paid, and now you got to rent a set of goggles for free for a couple of years. Uriel says, your dad is my age. Uriel, how old are you, Uriel? How do you know how old my dad is?
I'm 75.
There you go. Cole Power says, in 96, 97, I desperately wanted Apple stock. I was 8. Sam says, do BetaFPV send you the Matrix 5-in-1? Yep. A couple of live streams ago, I reviewed it, tore it all apart. Let me show you which stream it was. So if we go here and go to live, it's going to be... yeah, it's in here. The new GemFan 35mm props we tested on the Matrix AIO. During that stream, what I realized is that this AIO weighs exactly the same as the Happy Model 2G4 AIO. You can get the 2G4 from Happy Model. I would just buy that. Although it kind of depends. If it depends on what frames you want to run and or what camera you want to run. If you want to run the BetaFPV CO3 camera, the Matrix AIO has the correct plug, and you won't have to screw around with changing the plug header on the camera. If you want to run like the new FXT camera, or if you have an old Runcam Nano 3, the 2G4 has the plug for that. The 2G4 is a slightly bigger AIO that will not fit in this 65 Pro frame. You should not really be doing a 65 Pro build anyway, because the frame is not great and there's really no reason to do that. If you're building a 65, you should be using a Cockroach V3 or a Light AF frame. They are just hands down the best. And so, yeah, it doesn't really... The only real benefit to the Matrix AIO is the plug header for the camera being completely compatible with the CO3. Plug it in and go. For me, I have a whole bunch of Runcam Nano 3s. The 2G4 is my jam. The 2G4 is also a time-tested board. We know it's durable. We know it's awesome. It is just a totally safe bet to get a 2G4. But hopefully the Matrix will be good. At some point, I'm going to dive back into this Matrix board. We'll do a different build since this one doesn't really do anything all that well. And on that stream, and this is the other massive question mark, on that stream where before we do the build, I'm going to sit here and unplug and replug this UFL at least like 20 times. On the previous Beta Air AIOs, the 4-in-1 and the 5-in-1, the UFL would rip off within the first couple plug unplugs, if not on the very first unplug, like what happened to Chris Rosser, a bunch of other people, and myself. So that is a massive question mark with this Matrix AIO. I've unplugged the antenna once already, and it didn't rip off. I just unplugged it again, and it didn't rip off. So that's nice. We've got 2 unplugs on it. I'll do it a third time.
Brave person.
I know, right?
How many of those have you ripped off?
2. Not this exact board, though.
Okay.
There's 3. There's 3 cycles, and it's fine. The other Air 65 AIOs, the 4-in-1 and the 5-in-1, they are lighter. And they're also the new Happy Model AIO, the Super X, that comes in the Air 65. That one's also lighter and thinner. And after a bunch of plug and unplug cycles, the UFL ripped off of the Happy Model Super X Mobula 6 2024 AIO. So it certainly seems like when they've gone ultra light with these AIOs, they've sacrificed the strength of the UFL. This Matrix AIO is not ultra light. It weighs what the 2G4 weighs, and they've said that there's more layers. And I know that it was a big problem, and I know that they knew about it. So in theory, the Matrix AIO is totally fine, and they've beefed it up. This is number 4, and it's still on there. So 4 unplug and plug cycles, and it's still on there. For most people, they will not unplug and replug an antenna 4 times in the lifespan of that AIO, right? There's not a whole lot of reasons to keep unplugging and replugging the UFL. So, yeah, in theory, this Matrix AIO is totally fine. That's number 5. So, yeah, and I mean...
Don't press your luck.
I know, right? Not that, like, you can really tell when it's going to let go, but...
Well, you can, but now
like
with
it's
a 5X
gonna...
loop, you need a...
Yeah.
You'd have to look at something... Tiny fractures on the traces on the circuit board.
So yeah, I'm willing to bet that that it's fine, but fair warning, right? If you want a tried and true AIO, it's the 2G4, and there's not going to be any real performance difference. They're both on 5 amp FETs. They both have motor plugs. The Matrix AIO does use the nice little short JST plug. Which is kind of annoying because now you have to have this little USB to JST dongle thing at your desk or in your flight bag if you want to plug into this. But the alternative side of that is that sometimes those UFLs will, in certain frames, they'll come really close and or sometimes even touch the battery, and then you'll have to run taller grommets to space the AIO up. You'll never run into that with the Matrix using the little JST plug. So pluses and minuses. Both great AIOs. Nice to have durable AIOs, finally. Uriel says, I had the same experience with Nitro cars. Nitro, that's it. Nitro. Nitro cars, that's what they're called. Mr. Huggy says, if you bought one share in the mid-80s... Oh, wow. If you bought one share in the mid-80s, it would now be worth $28,000 to $30,000.
Oh, no, a lot more than that.
Is it more?
I bought Apple stock at $13 a share. I bought 100 shares at the $13. After that, they split 7-to-1.
Oh,
then
right.
they split
Splitting.
2-to-1 several times.
Oh my God.
But after I bought it at 13, it went to 20. I needed a new monitor. I bought a 30-inch Dell monitor.
It's the most expensive monitor ever.
Well, it's like a $150,000, $200,000 monitor. But hey, it looks good. It still looks good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 100 shares of Apple stock would look nice in my back pocket right now. Because it's $300 a share, $400 a share, something
is it
like
really?
that.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah.
Uriel says, warn your father, we don't want to see pictures of you naked as a baby. Trauma's enough over here. CMYKFPV says, I run TS and preview with VLC, encode with handbrake. Best workflow I've found so far, not wanting to deal with MP4 corruption nonsense.
I'll put it on the Discord.
Yeah. Every day with Bruno says, what's up, gang? Hope all is well. What's up, dude? CMYK, that's a great idea. I just don't have... You know what it is? I have not had enough of the MP4 files get corrupted. And usually it's just me screwing around in the front yard, right? Like with analog, it's kind of like, well, the day that I go somewhere super interesting and fly analog and have that get corrupted, that's the day that I'll go back to TS. William Loesch says, I'm having Fat Shark HDO2 DVR issues. Came back from Tiny Whoop Tuesday meetup and only had 2 non-corrupted files. It was confirmed recording. It's not the best quality SD card. Yeah, Fat Shark DVR sucks. It's the worst part about Fat Shark goggles is the DVR. It looks like shit. It skips frames, and it does exactly that. It corrupts files all over the place. My solution was to get an immersion RC power play, and then eventually the HDZero goggles. There is no fix for the Fat Shark DVR that I've ever heard. It just blows. So yeah, I feel your pain. Many of us feel your pain, William. It sucks. Uriel says 54. Sadly, oh god, I'm not reading that. Uriel. William Loesch says, Dad is a steel fox with that facial hair. We now know where your good looks come from. Goddamn right. My friends used to call him Fabio when I was growing up. That was before that was when you had jet black hair, the long jet black hair.
Yeah, I had black hair.
Christopher Blackledge says, good to catch you live again. Hope holidays are acceptable. If anything, well, it happens again. LOL, I think this is what the 4th one I'm telling you all about.
The holidays are great when we're together.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true. My parents are on their, it's too goddamn cold in New Jersey. Let's go south vacation. And they're staying in Stone Mountain right down the road. And they came overnight. My mom cooked fettuccine Alfredo, and it's awesome, like pine nuts with green beans, and were those figs in there?
Could have been. I don't know.
Figs
they tasted good.
Sun-dried tomatoes or something.
Yeah, maybe tomatoes. Garlic.
And yeah, it was great. Mom's hanging out upstairs.
Sourdough bread.
Yeah.
That was good.
Uriel says, I see no FU equals IRST Bitcoins almost sat next to developers. I don't know Bitcoin things. Cole Powers says, Skyzone doesn't corrupt files, but it will drop frames if it loses signal bad enough to miss the sync pulses. Yeah, Skyzone DVR is fantastic. It looks much better than... so in terms of DVR, Fat Shark is the worst. Random like Eachine is a little bit better than that. Skyzone is a little bit better than that. And then Skyzone, you get 60 frames per second, which is cool. And then the heinously expensive HDZero DVR is the best. 60 frames and de-interlaced, and it doesn't skip frames.
I need another drink.
What are you drinking, by the way?
Gin and tonic.
There's... good. There's amaretto over there if you want it.
Oh, amaretto.
Yeah.
I'll take gin and tonic.
Christopher Blackledge says, but there was no save. Wait, what? But there was no save on the Betaflight, and my fan should have been closer. 5 batteries later, I realized I had to switch the motor wires turned on. VTX is burned out. What am I missing here? Oh, I missed your entire first... Oh, God, okay. YouTube did the thing, and I didn't... No, I skipped. I don't know what happened. I missed a bunch of chat comments. Uriel says, but dad has a degree. He is a smart cookie. My dad actually didn't go to college. He went to the Navy, which is where he learned electrical technician fun stuff, and then he had a long career in that. I'll let him tell you more about that. Christopher Blackledge, his first comment, so now I can see what he's talking about. It says, speaking of HDZero build, my little 1S I wanted, HDZero AIO, LuxCam 802 33,000 kV motors. I got to the point video was working, and I had to switch the motors, the direction that the motors spin, I think is what he's saying. But there was no save on Betaflight. Yeah, there's not. You just close out of that window and it saves it. And my fan should have been closer. 5 batteries later, I realized I had to switch the motor wires. Turned on, VTX is burned out. That sucks, dude. Damn me, I learned slow. Sorry, I can't write all this. Welcome, Chris. That will not be the last mistake that cost you $100 in FPV. I've been in this for 8 years, and I still fuck shit up and just light money on fire as if I have plenty of it, or any of it, I guess. So yeah, man, that is FPV is. I've been into a lot of very difficult hobbies, obsessions, whatever, in my 43 years on this earth, and absolutely, unquestionably, FPV is the most frustrating, and you have to be the most stubborn to stay into it. It is just incredibly DIY, and all of the stuff that we use is made as cheaply as humanly possible because we put it into these drones and then smash them into stuff. And so, yeah, for us to get components that are better quality, we would have to pay a lot more money, and that doesn't necessarily make much sense. So, yeah, it's sort of a nature of what we're doing with these things, unfortunately. But we're all in it together, my friend. We all feel your pain, brother. Also, sometimes the motor direction wizard in Betaflight with certain AIOs, it just doesn't work. It's super weird. It used to work great, but I don't know. Over the last 6 months, that motor direction wizard, I feel like more often than not, just doesn't work. And you have to go to esc-configurator.com to reverse the direction of the motors individually, which is not all that difficult, but you have to know to do it. So, yeah, there's that. That's a dog! You got about 1 more second.
Hey.
Teddy sees him as dominant. He's not happy about this.
It's the beard.
Hey.
It's the white beard. He's like, I got white hair too. Kicking.
If I go back here, you might look at this.
That'll just make him jump.
Teddy.
Oh, that's good.
There he is.
He did good.
He's a bad boy.
He does not like
Fix
being
this.
dominated.
He doesn't.
He likes to be top dog.
Thank you, Maggie.
Welcome your gin and tonics right there.
Thank you.
There's also some.
Where was I?
The Serrano over here if you want some.
Thanks.
Uriel asks, does Dad have a degree? He's a smart cookie. And
I graduated high school in '67, went into the Navy, and went through the Navy's electronics schools, which were at the time top notch. They were the best electronics training that was available. Unfortunately, when I went through the Navy schools, was all vacuum tube technology. Transistors were just beginning to appear in the electronics world, and there was one piece of equipment the 2 pieces of equipment in my 6 years in the Navy that I worked on that were solid state, and none of them had integrated circuits. It was all discrete transistors, and then resistors, capacitors, inductors, etc. So it was very good. It was very good training. It served me well. I've worked in electronics since I got out of the Navy in '73. I retired in 2014, 2015.
Jesus,
like
did you retire that long ago? Holy hell.
It's been almost 10 years. Yeah, it was
God.
2015 I retired. Yeah, so it's been almost 10 years. Best 10 years of my life. I highly recommend retirement. Best job you can have. Last 14 years I worked for the state of New Jersey, so I have a nice pension from that and Social Security, and then your mother's pension and Social Security, and we do quite well. We're fine. We have a lovely 40-foot motorhome that's parked over in Stone Mountain, we hope. Still. We have a little bitty Peekapoo guarding it for us right now.
What's on that resume, Dad? Where'd you work?
I got out of the Navy, went to work for Radiation Management Corporation. They're a company that was owned, probably still owned, by Philadelphia Electric, and they do environmental monitoring for radiological pollution at nuclear sites on the east coast of the United States. Creepy. 3 Mile Island, Oyster Creek, Salem, EI Hatch was a plant down here in Georgia somewhere, or South Carolina, somewhere down south. A bunch of other nuclear sites, and then also a bunch of radiopharmaceutical sites. We went to Squibb in North Jersey, and I would drive a whole body counter for Radiation Management Corporation, and it was a 22-foot van. It wasn't 22 foot, it was 35 foot, it was 22 tons, which was nothing more than a great big lead shield that would guard a radiation detector from background radiation, and then there was a bed underneath the detector that the people would roll through, and then we could monitor the radiation coming from their body to see what kind of contamination they were receiving, either from the nuclear plant that they were working at, which they were very clean. The nuclear plants, we rarely saw any contamination. But when we did Squibb, oh my God, it took us months to decontaminate our vehicle because the people brought so much crap in. We had a hard time getting it out. We ended up throwing a lot of the furniture away because we just simply couldn't clean it to get the contamination out. Then I left Radiation Management Corporation and went to work for Audio Lab Stereo Center in Fairless Hills. I was the service manager for 3 years. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I learned a lot about audio. I bought a bunch of audio equipment. I still have a cassette deck and speakers and a lot of electronics that I bought at Audio Lab Stereo Center. They still exist. They're in Fairless Hills, New Jersey. Then I went to work for the Princeton Plasma Physics Laboratory for
Whoops.
And I left the Plasma Physics Lab and went to work in the engineering department. Oh, there's my Bozak Concert Grands. There they are. Nice speakers, 14 drivers. My configuration is a little different than this one, not quite identical.
These are
Actually,
12s.
This is better. This is a better configuration than mine has because mine, the 12-inch woofers are in like a smiley face. So the edges,
are they really?
The edges of two of them are
shit.
behind those wooden panels on the sides there. So this is a newer configuration than what I had. And then my tweeters, there's 8 tweeters in this thing, and they're in a row down the middle of the speaker. 250 pounds a piece. When I bought these, I could only fit one of them into my van at the time to get them. I had to take 2 trips to get the Concert Grands home.
Jesus Christ! Oh, there. Wait, is that it? That's it.
No,
Oh, no.
it's the other the other cabinet.
Yeah.
They just reconfigured the speakers in the cabinet. Somebody thought about it for a second and realized, oh geez, we shouldn't be hiding 10% or 20% of these woofers behind the wooden panels on the side of the speaker. The speakers are gorgeous. Designed in the 40s, and they still sound great today. A little lacking on the high end. No, that's a pair of speakers, and those have this style here, where they look like a cabinet. Yeah, that's it. It looks like a library cabinet, but it's actually a speaker. Damn. And then I went to work at the School of Engineering at the College of New Jersey, and that's where I finished my working career.
There you go, my friends.
There we are. That's my life history.
Everyday Breather says Stone Mountain better than Decatur. Stone Mountain's pretty nice.
Stone Mountain is very nice. It's expensive. We have a full hookup site with sewer and electric and water. and then there's a picnic table there. The nicest thing about Stone Mountain is the view.
Yeah.
You know, I thought we could use one of these cameras, and maybe we could get one of these shots.
Yeah, the down facing will work.
Yeah.
Uriel says, where those people glow in the dark? Cole Power says, get your dad to set up the 3D printer. Jeez. There's no setup needed. No, I just have to plug it in.
Yeah, when I worked at the College of New Jersey, we had 4 different styles of 3D printer. The first one was a wax 3D printer. The second one was a plaster 3D printer. The third one was, the company was Objet, and you had to buy this special liquid from them, and then they would spray this special liquid down, and it would harden.
Resin.
Some type of a resin thing. And then the fourth one was like this, where you fed a spool of poly something thing into it, and it would draw the model that you were interested in.
There are like 30 different formulas of filament nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah, the choices that I had was color.
Oh, right.
That was all I could pick, was what color I wanted.
That's funny. I wonder if it was PLA. PLA is one of like the most popular ones. I wonder if that's what it was.
This was 2010 when we bought the last 3D printer. Was $50,000 too. So they were a little more expensive. But it was, I mean, compared to it was a refrigerator-sized device.
Right.
Yeah, it was refrigerator sized. Yeah, but it was pretty nice. It did some nice work. Oh, I wanted to bring something here for you that I printed from it. They have this thing called an impossible print, because it's something that only can be produced on a 3D printer. You can't make it with a machine by machine.
A subtractive machine.
Yeah, right. You can only do it with a 3D printer. I'll get it to you. Or maybe next time you come up.
Where am I at in chat here?
You can take it back with you.
Curtis Hayes says, CiottiFPV's dad, my wife and I celebrated our 31-year anniversary this week. Got married at 18. Good to see you live.
Yeah, Sue and I got married. Uh-oh. we got
Morton Upshot says, the proper term for the USB dongle is chingadero. Elias says, what would you say about Eachine EV800D? That's it, EV800D. Those are the cheapest and or best-ish cheap goggles. Mr. Huggy says, so your parents came south to escape all the drones. Yeah, to come see more.
Yeah.
Smaller ones here, though. Brian Tegger says, do you know what external VTX BetaFPV uses with the Air 75? They don't. It's internal. Both of the Air 65 and the Air 75 use built-in VTXs. The 4-in-1 version uses an external receiver. The 5-in-1 version has an internal receiver as well. Cole Power says, did they use the wax to cast metal parts?
No, the finished product was actually a wax. One of the professors would use it to build little 24th or 32nd scale race cars, and then he had a racetrack set up where the students would race them.
That's awesome. Hey, I almost have this swapped over, friends. I just unscrewed a bunch of screws. You didn't miss anything. I unplugged motors and unscrewed a bunch of screws. I put build in the stream title, but it's not. We already did the build. We'll talk about that in a minute. Although actually, I think I'm caught up on chat, so we can maybe dive into this, and you guys can watch the most exciting part, which is me pushing the AIO down into the frame and struggling with the grommets as they make me want to jump off the roof. So this is an HDZero AIO5. Oh, tell me it's not going to fit in this frame. It might not fit in this frame. That might be why I'm having a hard time. I don't think it's going to fit in this frame. All right, well, hold on. Yeah, nope, it ain't going to fit in this frame. The motor plugs hit the So yeah, the Beta FPV. Nope, it won't go. Let me attempt to show you this. Oh, here's a view from
the RV at Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain.
You're not centered.
That's just because this window's in front.
Oh. Yeah, that's looking out the side of our RV at the little lake there. And early in the morning for the past few days, it has been completely still. So the water is like a mirror surface.
It's insane.
Gorgeous.
So here's what's going on. Here's why you can't do this build. This also applies to the Beta FPV Meteor. I'm sorry, the Air 75 frame and probably the Air 65 frame as well. The motor plugs, you can just kind of see it there right below my thumb. The motor plug is hitting the bottom of the battery tray. See it down in there? The Beta FPV frames are very specifically designed for AIOs that are this shape, this cross-style AIO. They have all this clearance, and so they run the battery tray right up into this void. So when you try to put any regular-sized AIO into these frames, it just doesn't work. And I keep forgetting that because I haven't been using these frames much lately, and so yeah, this won't work. This is now the second time that I've forgotten about this. So what we are going to do is put this into a regular 75mm frame, and we're not going to get quite as good performance, but we'll still get decent performance. So yeah. All right. Let me think for a second about where we're going to move this to. I think what I want to do is put it into the... All right, so... Okay, here we go. Perfect segue. Mount at 90 degrees. Skesic says sometimes that works. Unfortunately, that makes the battery lead go out the side, and this battery lead probably won't reach. Also, what happens a lot of the time when you do that is the motor plugs will be in the way of the battery. I'm taking a quick look to see if that's a possibility here. So, good call, dude. And at this point, somebody's going to say, just mount the AIO upside down. No, it's no. A lot of times when you do that, the motor, no, still won't clear. The motor plugs are still hitting the supports on the frame. There's no way to do it. There's no way to fit the AIO5 into this frame other than flipping it upside down. Flipping it upside down sucks. Your UFL is on the bottom. The all of the HDZero ports are obscured. The battery leads are sticking up. So now what the hell canopy are you going to run? Sorry, not the battery leads. The motor plugs are sticking up. They're going to all hit the canopy. It's the whole flip the AIO upside down thing is a nightmare. So what we're going to have to do is put this into a Mobula 7 V4 frame. We're going to lose the 45mm props. We're going to have to drop down to 40mm props. We're also going to lose... These Beta FPV 1102 22,000s are perfect on this frame. They're really good on the 75mm frames as well, but we're going to go lightweight, I think, with this. I'm going to play some flight footage from earlier today of the 1S rigs on the HQ 1.6s. This is the one that Cloudhopper sent me with his custom wound 36,000 kV 802s. This is the one that I built together by bell swapping the 33,000 kV 802s. The hand wound motors make a little bit more power. And now that I swapped the camera and canopy, this one just flies better than this one. I'm not going to be flying 1S75 analog much anymore, so there's no reason to have two of them. So this one's got to go. This is going to get pulled apart. I'm going to take this frame and motor setup, and it's going to get the AIO5 on it. This is Totally fine. A little bit of a change of plans, but totally fine. Eye in the Sky says, can the plugs be removed? They can, but it sucks. Having direct soldered motors is just super annoying. I do not recommend it. If you don't crash, then yeah, maybe you can do that. But I crash, and when you crash, you break motors, and when you have to rip the entire build apart to direct solder 30 gauge wires to the AIO, not only does it put stress into the AIO because you're dumping all that heat into it, but it just sucks. And what ends up happening is you don't fly that rig hard, because every time you blow up a motor on that rig, it's like an hour of work to pull it all the way down, unscrew all the motors, unscrew the AIO, do all that stuff. Can you maybe sneak a soldering iron up there to desolder and resolder a motor? Maybe. Are you going to melt the shit out of the plastic frame? Yes. Is the quality of your solder joint going to suck? Yes. To do it right, you've got to take the whole thing apart. You're also now putting a bunch of stress into the motor holes, right? You're unscrewing the motors, rescrewing the motors, unscrewing the motors, rescrewing the motors. Motor plugs are key to having a rig that is easily serviceable, that you can convince yourself to fly hard and actually have fun with. The direct soldered motor thing, for hardcore racers, I get it. But for, if you just want to have fun, there's nothing fun about direct soldered motors. It sucks.
What's the weight penalty?
It's about like 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 of a gram, which is not nothing, but it's not enough to warrant what a pain in the ass it is. Sometimes the AIOs will have motor solder pads on them that, like, if you flip it upside down, you can have a little bit better access to them. It's still, it just sucks. The plug-in motors is important for me to have a rig that I'm willing to fly hard, especially because I have other builds with plug motors. If you're only going to have one build and you're not going to fly it super hard, you're not going to crash it super hard, yeah, maybe. Saves weight. You could argue that there's less resistance. There probably is less resistance. I've never seen any actual proof, but that's a hard thing to prove.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there has to be. There has to be less resistance.
Yeah.
But with the motor plugs, we still make plenty of power. Like, these 75 millimeter rigs on 1S versus 2S, it's not like direct soldering these motors would be the difference. They would still not have enough. 2S is the way to go. 2S, you can still have motor plugs for the analog stuff. The AIO5 is a 1S only board, so I guess maybe, if you're willing to go there. It's also like a $90 board, though. I don't want to be all over this with a soldering iron every time I blow up a set of motors. So, yeah, I'm not doing it. I try to build stuff and fly stuff that, like, not only is easy for me to repair, but is easy for you guys to build. I don't want to have all these builds that are like a complete nightmare, and then it's like, oh, I wish I could, fly something as good as Ciotti, but I'm not as good at soldering as he is. No, solder a set of motor leads on, and then everything else is plug and play. You can build exactly what I fly. Away you go. Christopher Blackledge says, what about the Air 75 frame? Same deal. BetaFPV, Meteor 75 Pro, Meteor 65 Pro. Those are both the frames that the ducts came inwards more. And then the Air 65 and not the Air 60. Air 65 frame might work. But to me, if you're going to do a 65 millimeter AIO5 build, you might as well put it into the cockroach frame. It's a better frame anyway. It's lighter and it's stronger. For a 75 millimeter build, which I think is where the AIO5 is best, is best. The Meteor 75 Air 75 frame, I don't think it'll work. I have one. Let me confirm it, because it is a little bit different than the Meteor 75 Pro frame, admittedly. Look at that. I even have one with motor screws still in it. And then I also need a Tell me that's it right there. And it's got motor screws in it. Happy days, my friends. All right, so... Oh, wait, I actually don't need this one. I just need this one. I'm going to pull apart that other 75mm build. Cool. This is the Air 75 frame. Let's see. Yeah, you know, this is an Air 75 frame that I modified for the Spectre AIO. I forgot to show you guys this. I'm glad that I grabbed this. So the reason why on the 2S builds, I've been telling you guys to get the X12 rather than the Spectre AIO is because the Spectre AIO requires you to do stuff like this because they put the motor plugs in a weird position. So this is an example of what you're going to need. This is an Air 75 frame. You're going to have to not do as much work on the Mobula 7 V3 frame, but you still have to do something like this to give the motor plugs more room to breathe, or otherwise the motor plugs are just going to be pushed up against the frame, which is no good. So there you guys go. If you want to do a 2S analog build, don't get the Spectre AIO, get the Happy Model X12. It's just going to make your life so much easier. And I've seen zero difference between those two builds. All right, so Air 75 frame. Will the AIO5 fit? I can already tell it's not. It's doing this thing that they do when they don't fit, where they like taco back and forth. Where is it hitting? Where are you hitting, you bastard? Oh wait, no. I would love for it to. Ooh, it fits. Well, it only fits because of those reliefs that I've cut out into the frame. And it's not going to work anyway. The motors aren't going to be able to plug in. But if you look in there, those reliefs that I cut out, see what I mean? The motor plug, I would have to cut those even bigger because the motor plug is going to sit up on top of those, right?
Is the AIO all the way down?
It's almost all the way down. It could probably go a little bit farther down. Yeah, so the motor plugs are a little bit wider than those, right? They have that little lip on top, and so that's going to just smack right in there. That's fine. The Air 75 frame is only 1 gram lighter than the Meteor 7, the Mobula 7 V4 frame, and like, again, that's not nothing, but for this amount of customization, it's not worth it. I've also found the Air 75 frame to not be nearly as durable as the Mobula 7 V4 frame. So, totally fine. We're going Mobula 7 V4. Guillermo says, tell Santa that I've been a good boy this year.
Prove it.
Guillermo, this is my dad.
Santa. That's Santa, sir.
Yeah. My dad opened the live stream and said, my name's David Ciotti. You can call me sir.
Play it back.
You will respect his authority. This is one thing I can't do. Everybody has to just rewind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freelojo says, please try the Meteor 75 V2. V2? Meteor 75 V2. What's that? Is that the X frame? The Meteor 75X frame? That frame sucks, dude. That frame broke immediately. I think I do have it. I do. Yeah, you don't want to use this frame though. This frame is no good. I've tried this frame before and it broke really quickly. But for the sake of argument, let's see if it'll go in there. It'll probably clear because I think you can put regular AIOs into this frame. Nope. Wow, it's this this is even worse. Jesus, same deal. It's that battery tray. The bottom of that battery tray is just all kinds of in the way.
Has anyone mounted motor plugs
That's way worse.
at a 90-degree angle coming out of the board?
Yeah,
the
carbon fiber frame stuff does that. It won't work here because of the ducts, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're called toothpicks. There's one of them on that right middle cube there. The little guy with the purple top and the little antennas sticking out all the way on the right in the middle. Two shelves down, all the way off on the right. One to the right.
Aaron.
There it is. That's it.
I'm dyslexic. No, these come off the bottom.
Yeah, I don't have the AIO the right,
Okay.
but that's the type of build that
Oh yeah, I can see where
it would work, right?
There would be clearance for that.
Yeah, exactly. Curtis Hayes says, CiottiFPV's dad, you must have been an officer in the Navy if you are a sir. LOL.
No, I was a first-class petty officer when I got out. Oh, there's your
That's
Aunt
my
Janet.
Aunt Janet.
And your mom.
So
And
this
Penny.
guy's getting pulled apart. We're now pulling apart 3 rigs to build one. Yeah.
There's a package that was delivered today with orange. Look at this. Oh, you're on. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're informal. Here's Aaron's mother,
Oh, God.
the lovely Susan.
Here's Mama Ciotti. There she is.
See, she's as gray as I am.
Nice.
Careful.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
This is Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Yes. Darren's doing a stream, and we've just interrupted it.
Oh, that orange package?
Yeah, that's her. This is Aunt Janet's package, I think.
That was addressed to our neighbor, Phil Plonsky.
Oh, then that's not the
Oh, it
one.
didn't arrive yet.
No. Oh, this is Amazon sent her a thing and saying it was delivered here.
It was delivered today.
Your package was left near the front door of the porch.
Who was it addressed to, Janet?
Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Did you get it?
I did not.
My God, there's a lot of packages here.
I know.
I know when I saw them.
I've opened all the packages that I got.
Okay, it's got to be upstairs then.
Or it's still over here.
Oh.
Right, there's still packages here.
Yeah, I don't know where that would be.
I just let me know.
Tis the season for packages to vanish. Brett Anderson says, strong argument for direct soldered motors. Owning one of those little dangly armed flight controller thingy dingies, priceless. Wait, what? Strong argument for direct soldered motors. Owning one of those little dangly armed. What's that mean, Brent? I can't talk when I do that. I'm confused. I'm getting a little bit caught back up on chat. Curtis Hayes, oh no, we got that. Elias says, is there another difference between the Air 65 racing and freestyle other than the KV? Nope, the color. I don't know which one to get. Probably race. Well, you can't get the racing and freestyle. Yeah, no. Get the one that's higher KV. There's no difference. Just a motor swap. And if you don't want the higher KV, you can just motor limit it down. Never, ever, ever buy the low KV version of something unless it's like way lower KV and you're doing it for a reason.
Price.
Yeah, right. It's true. Cool. So this is coming out of here. This X12 is coming out of this frame, so we can put the AIO5 into it. And there we go. So I have an extra X12 now, which is kind of nice. I might get that Spectre AIO out. Nah, we'll run the Spectre AIO. See how long it lasts. The only single problem that I have with the Tiny Whoop 180 degree PCBs for BT 2.0 is that on Modula 7 V4 frames, it is a bastard to get them through the little hole in the back of the frame. And that's where I'm at right now. You have to push on the top battery support a little hard. You can get it, but it's, it's a little sketchy. Got to kind of put the BT 2.0 sideways and then and there it goes. I mean, it's not that bad, but the bottom, they're actually upper. The upper battery supports are kind of weak anyway. You should be reinforcing them with E6000, like I've shown you guys a bunch of times, but this is important to do a 360 degree bead of E6000, or in this case E7000 because it's black, all the way up and around those upper battery supports. Ever since I started doing this, I haven't broken one of these battery supports. Before I started doing this, I broke a bunch of them. So, all right. So this is the frame and motor and propeller setup that we're using. These are Happy Model 0802 33,000s with a bell swap. These are the iGal bells with the 1.5mm motor shaft. This is a regular old Mobula 7 V4 frame. Elias is out of here. It's 2:30 a.m. here in Germany. Thanks for hanging, brother. Brent Anderson says, it looks like a little octopus all soldered up and out of the frame. I got it, Brent. Yeah, it is funny. That is incredibly satisfying. A fully soldered up build with the little arms hanging out. It is, and you can make it stand up on its little own. All right, so this is not what we want. This is what we want. I don't even know if this will fit in the Mobula 7 frame. The AIO5 very well might not fit in this frame. I'll let you know in a minute. It doesn't fit in any other frame so far for 75. All right, so mashing the Tiny Whoop battery PCB through, LED battery PCB through. And here we go. AIO5, it's going to fit. The Mobula 7 V4 frame is just designed in a way that like it works with damn near everything. Go figure. They designed a frame that would work with existing electronics and even other companies' electronics. Who would have ever thought that's a good idea? Good God, man.
Was that sarcasm?
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
10%. My God. I don't know if anybody else does that. It is in the FPV world. Shit, in the regular world either. Jesus. That's super common to give no thought to anyone else's products.
You know what's amazing is light bulbs in cars. They were swappable for years. Not anymore.
Right.
But it used to be.
Yeah. It's either I'm not pushing it down hard enough or there could be something. Doesn't look like anything's interfering. What's happening here with this USB though? Is this USB pushing up against the hang on. No, there's a little bit of a gap there. I think I'm just not pushing it down far enough. Levster says, I have an X12 on a rig and it runs on 400 milliwatt, but the range is so bad. Did you have the same experience? Air 65 camp is so good in comparison. With AIOs with VTXs built in, they sometimes will eventually just die. You don't get, I mean, AIOs in general, you don't get massive lifespans out of. It sounds like that's maybe what's going on, but before the doom and gloom of that, change the antenna. None of these AIOs have VTXs that are all that great. A properly functioning Happy Model AIO will give you the same exact range. So either and so like when you get a new Tiny Whoop, a lot of times you're blown away by the video quality. Usually that's either the antenna that you've had on your old one is beat to shit, and you just need to swap the antenna out, or the VTX has been run and heated up and cycled over and over and over and over again, and the new one is just kind of fresh and brand new. So that's going to be my guess as to what you've got going on there. Because yeah, I've noticed no difference whatsoever between any like Happy Model 2G4, X12 in terms of range and or the quality of the VTX and the quality of the image. So yeah, it's usually just your AIO is old and moldy, and the VTXs suffer because they get really hot. And yeah, but change the antenna first. Take the antenna off the Air 6. No, never mind. Don't take the antenna off the Air 65. You'll rip the UFL off. Get a fresh antenna. Get a micro V. Get an ORT micro V. I have the perfect length ones on my Etsy store, or RDQ has the regular 50 millimeters, and Weebleed has some on order as well. They might have them in by now.
Did you shill today?
I did.
Did you tell everybody what the date is today?
Hell no. It's December 20th, friends. Curtis Hayes says, Apple requires EU lawsuits to use connectors the rest of the world uses. Yeah,
Didn't they
should
just
be
they just
ashamed.
discontinued 2 products in Europe because they don't have, they're not going to build them with USB-C.
Oh my God, really?
The iPhone SE and I think an iPad will no longer be available in Europe because of that law.
That's some stubborn shit right there. Although it's probably a money thing. I'm sure it's a money thing.
There may not be space to add, they might
shit,
not be
that's right.
able to add
Right.
the different connector into the, it's a tough problem.
Right.
As
Yeah, they
tiny
built
as
it
all
around
this
the
shit is
Lightning.
getting. Yeah. I can remember when
We're good.
Apple started changing all of their connectors to from USB to micro USB to mini USB, and everybody was complaining, but there was no choice. Their equipment was getting so thin that they had the older connectors, Ethernet connectors. They're huge.
All right, so here's the deal, friends. The AIO5 puts the USB port on the side, and they pushed it a little farther out than most people. It is sitting right up against the... All right, so the posts on the frame, the posts that the grommets go down onto, the bottom of that post has a round piece of plastic there that the post is like molded into. That round piece of plastic is just barely touching the USB.
It's going to screw up the gyro.
Super easy fix. You could probably just ignore it. If you're going to ignore it, you have to push the side of the AIO down first that the USB is on. That way it angles the USB in and then it comes out. But don't be lazy. Take it out of there and file it down just a little bit. You don't have to do much. Just a little tiny bit to make sure that you don't want that USB pushing up against the up against it. And so just grab your little diamond file and knock it out. Don't be lazy with that. It's super easy to just ignore that. Don't do it. Just come in here. You're just going to knock a little bit of plastic off. It's not going to make it any less durable. And it'll also make it easier to mount the AIO. That's probably already enough, but we'll just take a little bit more off. These frames never break at this part where I'm removing this plastic from. And they break everywhere else.
Till tonight.
Yeah. Right. There we go. Good to go. That's it. No big deal. Do it. I almost just said screw it and just pushed it on there, but it's like, no, that's insane. So yeah, you're going to want to do that. Other than that, though, it looks like this is the 75 millimeter frame that this AIO fits in. It would probably also fit in the Mobula 7 V2 frame, but that's a frame for 2S batteries, and this AIO is not 2S compatible. So don't do that, because then you would probably plug a 2S battery in and blow an $80 AIO up. All right.
Do you know how long I watched your streams before I knew what AIO stood for? Had to be 6-8 months.
Joshua Bardwell actually hates that I call these AIOs. There's a strong argument to be made for calling these flight controllers, but everybody knows them as AIOs. And all the manufacturers call them AIOs, which is why I continue to do it.
All in ones.
All in ones.
Just in case.
For anyone new here, AIO stands for all in one. All in one as in flight controller, ESC, VTX, and receiver. Although BetaFPV calls their 4-in-1 an AIO, which doesn't have a receiver built in, They also call it a 4-in-1. I forget what the 5 is. What's the 5? We talked about this previously. Why do they call it a 4-in-1? ESC, flight controller, receiver, VTX. That's a 4-in-1 to me. What's the 5th thing? What are we missing here? Why is the new... They call their 4-in-1 doesn't have a receiver built in. So it's flight controller, ESC, VTX. What's the 4th? OSD, David 4F says. It's the... Why do they consider the OSD? That's stupid. That's stupid.
That's part of the VTX.
Right. Like, that's silly. Let's call it an 8-in-1 and say that it's got a I don't know, a gyro chip on it. There's the 7-in-1. Man, this AIO5 for whatever reason it's tough to mount. The grommets love popping off. Just don't freak out. Just breathe. All right, now another one of the grommets just popped off. All right, so the part of the AIO that has the USB port on it has to go down first, and that's on. The rest of it here needs to sit up. You're not missing anything, not doing this on the down-facing camera. You're missing absolutely nothing. All right, so we put that down, and now the other two sides are sticking up here. And so here we go. I think this is the move here. I think we got it. Come on, go, go, go. Almost. Almost. Don't pop out of there, grommet. Stay in there. Stay in there. I think we're good. There it is. No, 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 don't pop out. No, 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 no. The AIO5 is very slightly oversized. Most of these are like 25.5 by 25.5. I think this is like 25.6 by 25.6. Makes sense. They're putting a million chips on here. But all right, now we're good. That is on. The camera and canopy are... Oh, no, no wonder why it's not Love and Life. I had it rotated 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to use slightly longer screws on this to make these posts on... to help these posts on the frame survive hard crashes. That's important on any sort of like heavier frame, but I have no idea where I got these longer screws from. They're just in my box of stuff. But yeah, keep your eye out for these. They almost look like self-tappers. They have really sharp tips on them. Happy Model uses slightly different screws than anybody else. So when you get anything Happy Model Tiny Whoop related, save all the hardware because you might be able to use that hardware on a specific build. Whenever you get hardware that's slightly longer, hang on to it because it'll potentially be better for heavier builds. All right, cool. Caught up on chat. Get this bolted down the rest of the way. Plug in these motors. Get them spinning the right direction in the motors tab, and then we can bounce this thing across the room and see what it's like. Should be pretty good. I mean, the 75mm rigs, yeah, the 1S 75mm rigs, they like being lightweight, and we're sacrificing some of that lightweight here. But if you're going to add weight to a rig, adding weight to a 75mm rig is going to be better than adding it to a 65mm rig. Where's the last screw? Balls. Well, hold on, let's check. Okay, got it. Yep, there it was. 'Twas in the other canopy. All right. AIO5 75mm build. I haven't been looking, but has anybody seen somebody do a 75mm build with this flight controller? See, look at that. I called it a flight controller. You happy now, world? You happy now, Joshua? All right. to me, a flight controller is just a flight controller, right? Like an ESC is an ESC, a flight controller is a flight controller.
Is Joshua back online? Is he streaming again?
Yeah.
Is he?
He is. Not as much as he used to.
Yeah.
But good for him. It's hard to stream a bunch of times a week, every single week. Look at that.
Yes. I'm very impressed with your stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, it's fun. The way that I stream is very fun. His streams are not as fun as what I do.
Yeah.
So the
He's all
burnout.
talk. He doesn't do.
He just answers questions
Much
the whole
building.
time because there's just an infinite number of questions. Although
Right.
one of his live streams a week was just the news, and that was probably fun. But like this is mega fun. The news is I don't do it because it's not fun. I don't want to just read a bunch of news stories and give my opinion on them. I'm not dialed in enough for that. I wouldn't do a good job at that. All right, 2 motors are plugged in. 2 more. Has anybody seen a 75mm AIO5 build? Anybody? Skull says JB is very serious. On his live streams he is. He's a blast to hang out with though. He's a funny guy. Hanging out with him, you get to hear him curse all the time too, which is great.
He doesn't curse online.
He tries pretty hard not to.
What the fuck is wrong with him?
Agreed. It's a really good idea to not curse on YouTube, though, in fairness.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Am I in trouble?
Nope.
Okay.
It can't possibly get any worse than
I'll sleep better than that.
normal streams. There we go. Let's see what the weight difference is. I mean, it's not going to be any different than... It'll be a different percentage of weight increase, though. All right. Cloudhopper's build that he sent me, which is now very lightweight now that I changed the camera canopy setup. Analog 75mm build on 802s, 23.1 grams. AIO5 version of that build, 26.1. So awesome. 3 extra grams. Wait, is that right? Was it 23? Yeah, 23 to 26. What's that percentage change, people? I'm not doing that math in my head. 23 to 26. What's the percentage? 14%?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big difference. What's 14? What's something weighs 16 grams and it gains 14% weight? What's that? 14 times 6?
More.
Yeah. It's an extra 75 grams, maybe. 70,
way too much gin tonight for that kind of math.
It's almost 100 extra grams on a 5-inch rig. So this will fly way different.
I could have done that in high school.
Me too. Maybe.
I was good with math in high school.
All right, this is good. We got to get the motors spinning in the right direction with Betaflight. Let's click Betaflight because it'll take forever to launch. Get that started. USB port is off on the side, which is kind of nice because now I can just put the battery in here. And all right. Curtis Hayes posted a link in general. What is it? Crom says, I have a 75 AIO5 build. It's very fun to fly. Awesome. I love that. Love that. Betaflight still has not come up. Come on, Betaflight. Please. Please work. You can do this. There it is. All right. Connect and motors and motor direction. I understand the risks. I definitely have taken the props off. I need to plug this in though. Look at that. The battery cable is just about long enough. Awesome. AIO5 is wrong. They're all wrong.
Spin the propellers.
Let's see if they're all right. Nope, they're all still wrong. This is one of the many AIOs that this does not work. If the motor direction wizard does not work, disconnect from Betaflight. Go to esc-configurator.com, click connect, click read settings, and do it the old school way, which is go reverse to normal, reverse to normal. These will not all say reversed, but just change them. Whatever they say, bring it to the opposite. If it says normal, make it reversed. If it says reversed, make it normal, and then click right settings, and now you're fine. Disconnect, and you're good to go. The HDZero setup that I've got is over here with the little backpack unit that FPV Exchange actually very kindly sent me way back in the day.
Don't we need more lights over there?
Nah.
No?
All these cameras are, since they're all car backup cameras, they work really well in low light.
You know, it looks, watching online, it is well lit, and it's not well lit.
Nope.
Here.
Yeah. It actually also, it drops the shutter speed down in the cameras, which helps with jello.
Oh.
Basically kills jello. All right, HD60S Plus has just been plugged in, so the stream might get a little bit stuttery. I believe that is the battery going dead on the HDZero goggles, which is a little annoying, but we will live. All right, hold on. We're gonna unplug this, and I gotta change this goggle. Battery out. I don't know why that's not picking up the thing, but I gotta change this anyway, so hold on. Okay, this and this. HDZero being flown inside the house. Not a super common thing around here, but we're gonna do it. This is really meant for outside, but let's at least see what it's like in here. Yeah. All right, charged goggle battery. Now let's power this back up and see if we get video. If we don't get video, I'm not necessarily sure what's going on. It might be overheated.
You need canned air, Aaron. You know those little spray cans? Yeah.
It could be, I guess, maybe on the wrong channel. Let me hit the, All right.
Is there video in the goggles?
Not yet. But we're using an external source for it. So let's see, is it on R8? Yeah, so we got video in the goggles. So this, why you know work, little guy. Because the battery's dead. All right. That was an easy troubleshoot. Let's unplug the quad for a second here. And, okay. I've got a quick solution, and that is just dropping another battery on here. One more second, friends. Yep, there's a charged battery, and we are back in business. All right, that'll come up in a second. There it is. That's what we wanted to see. Old shark bite module. It's already on race 8. All is right with the world. Here we go. Video in 3, 2, 1. Damn, almost. I'm not going to DVR this. It'll be fine. Well, now the quad's not putting video out. What's happening, little AIO5? Come on. Come on, AIO5. We've gone from one problem to another problem. What the hell? It was working 4 seconds ago. All right, let's unplug it and give it another second to cool off.
One ice cube?
All right. Did my AIO5 just blow up? Let's see. Come on. Live. Live. Oh my god, it might have. No. No. Don't have blown up. Come on now. Is it low power until first arm? Nope. Wow, okay. It's not totally uncommon for AIO5s to let go like this.
Well, that's terrible.
Let's really cool it down. You guys would be amazed how well this works.
No comment.
I can feel that it's not hot anymore. So, hold on. Let's make sure that the antenna's plugged in. Camera's plugged in. Camera's direct soldered, so that's not the deal. Motors are plugged in. That looks fine. Let's power cycle the goggles.
Is there a fan in those goggles?
There's 2 fans in these
Two
goggles.
fans in the goggles? Doesn't make you lightheaded, does it?
God, it's noisy.
It is noisy.
All right. Here we go. Did it blow up? Oh, nope, hold on. All right. Here we go. Will it come back to life? 3 fans, Raging Leet says. God damn it, AIO5. You blew up, didn't you? Well, now I got to go back to the HDZero setting on the goggles, so hold on. I think it let go. Damn. And somebody just in the chat earlier had theirs let go. If this happens to your HDZero AIO5, contact HDZero. Apparently they can repair them. Apparently they will repair them. Yeah, antenna's plugged in. Camera's fine. Well, that blows. The goggles are now acting weird. Ah, there they go. No, yeah, let go. Hold on. Hold on. Let's look closely at it. Not that I'll be able to see anything, but just out of curiosity. King Dingaling with a $10 super chat. He says, a bribe for science. Will you run a few 300 and 260 mAh batteries on the RC and Power twin? Oh, God. I can't run the 260s on those motors, dude. They'll catch on fire. In the 65 Pro frame with the new bi-blades, it looked like they outpowered some 802s in Ross's recent video. I know what you're trying to figure out, King Dingaling. I got some answers for you. Just give me 1 second. So all the solder joints for the camera are perfect. Battery leads look fine. UFL is plugged in totally fine. Nothing's pushing up against the AIO in any weird kind of way. You know, everything looks fine. None of the chips seem to have any I just burst into flames marks on them. But usually they don't. They just fail on the inside. Balls. All right, let's let this sit for a minute, and we'll talk about King Dingling's questions. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. RC and Power 29,000 kV 0702s. I did a live stream about them last week, I guess it was. If you really want to learn everything there is to, not everything, but a lot about them, check that live stream out. They are more grunty than any of the other motors. They are not as high kV though. And so what they are is they're an 0702 that will give you the best possible response time. They will accelerate and decelerate the propeller faster than anything else. So the PID loop will feel super crisp. When you first jam on the throttle and the rig starts to accelerate, they will accelerate quicker than anything. But then what happens is, if you stay in full throttle, they don't have as high of a KV as the Happy Model 36,000s and 40,000s, so you won't get the same top speed, but you'll get a more grunty kind of a feel from them. I will not put them on the 35mm propellers because the 0702 motor is too small of a heat sink for this bigger, heavier, more draggy propeller, and it would not perform well on this prop. It would also not perform well on this heavy of a build. When you go to this 65 Pro setup, you gain a bunch of weight. So they would not be a good match for this setup. 802s will. An 802 motor is a bigger heat sink, which is what you're going to need for this bigger, draggier, heavier propeller and the heavier build. This build that I did, I used an 0603 motor on it because the 0603 motor is one step up bigger than 0702, but it's not quite as big as 0802. I'm tempted to swap 802 motors onto this build because I think one of the reasons that it's getting such short run times is that the 0603 is a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 millimeters of width, it has 1 millimeter of height. That ratio is going to get hot. When magnets get hot, they become less efficient and less powerful. So the reason why this has such shit runtime could be because of these 0603s, which is a shame because they perform great. This thing actually flies really good, but the like minute and 50-second runtime is a total deal breaker. So yeah, this build is an 802 build. It's not a 702 build. It's not a 603 build. It's an 802 build. So that's what you want. You want the highest KV 0802s that you can get, which are the Tiny Whoop Emoptera 33,000s. Those are the motors that I just put on here. If this AIO is cooked, I will take these motors off here and put them onto this because what the hell. But yeah, you do not want 702s on this build. These props are a lot lighter weight than the previous 35mm props, but they're still way heavier than the 30mm props that we have available to us. And the 702 motors are just barely big enough for the 30mm props. So yeah, 702s would not be a great match for this. Thank you again for the super chat, my friend. This has had a minute to cool off. I'm hitting it since that fixes all electronics, as we all know. It either fixes them or breaks them.
That was a 2-week class at the school, the electronics schools in the Navy. 2 weeks on how to bang electronics.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine?
Oh, shit. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let me turn the goggles on and set them into HDZero mode. I guess there's a chance that I am on the right channel, yeah. Maybe it's not on the right channel. This AIO5 does a thing where it changes the channel on its own. It's one of the things I hate about the AIO5. Good call, dude. Thank you. All right, so the first thing I need to do is tell the goggles, since they don't automatically do this, which is absolutely insane to me for goggles that are this fancy, that I want HDZero and not analog. In fairness, you do get to choose what your default is, but the fact that they don't just scan real quick seems kind of ridiculous to me. So when it changes channels, it goes down to R1. My goggles are now on R1. Please be on R1. Hey, it's on R1, you why? All right, let me go into the menu and change it back to R8. Race band. Oh, yeah. Why did it not change? Oh, those glasses, though. Why did it not change channel? I told it to change channel.
It says channel R8 there on screen.
With no video, though, right?
No video.
Yeah. Save. There we go. I got full rainbow, and then I got to go up to R8. You guys should have video now.
Yeah.
Confirm. Yes. Exit. Huzzah! All right, here it is. 75mm AIO5. Back left motor is being a little bit cranky. We'll see if it wants to fall out of the air. This battery is now dead because it's been plugged in for a little while, so this is not gonna be the flight performance. Oh boy, does it not feel great. It's also very hot right now, so let's just chill, let it cool itself off. So much duct in view. Good lord, I'm gonna maybe. Why is it getting hotter? Stop getting hotter. Start cooling down. What are you doing? Cool down. Hold on. Let's back the tune off a little bit, I guess. The tune's already backed off. I guess these motors might be asking too much from this AIO. Oh my god, it's 200 degrees. Get colder! Start cooling down. You've got all that airflow, bro. And it's cold in here. Oh, I think it's cooling down finally. Well, this battery is done. Let's do this. Since I'm wireless, I can actually fly this outside, and that'll cool it right the hell off. So hold on. You got? Oh no, yeah, it's dark out. Never mind.
Fly it in the garage.
Oh yeah. Can you go open the garage door and turn the lights on for me?
Yep.
Thank you. Genius. All right, coming through. It's down to 183. I think we'll be okay, but let's just get it cooled off. I don't fly in the garage very often. I can almost see in here.
Where's the light switch?
You're close. There it is. All right, garage is nice and cool. This will cool it down for sure. There's Maggie's TSX Sport Wagon. Look at the garbage that we got. I'm right on the other side of the wall. I probably don't have it. Wow, it's getting really hot. It's not cooling down. It's still at 100. Yeah, there it goes. Now it's cooling off. Woo! See if I can fit under Maggie's car. Just barely. Just barely. Just barely. I don't think I can fit up on that. Yeah, now it's coming down. 180. Now we're talking. Hey. Can I fit under the 2? Oh. We got it. We're good. It's fine. Everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. Yeah. 180. Oh, God. All right. It's 180. 180 is fine. It's going to have to be fine. Flies decent. I can see where I'm going a little bit better than analog. Ooh! It is heavy. No getting around that. Ah! Any of these digital builds are going to feel a little bit heavier than analog builds. That is just the way it is. Yikes.
You're not going up high enough.
Yeah, because it's too heavy. These are about the most powerful 802s that you're going to find. And they do not feel super powerful on here because of the weight. It's also getting hot again. Oh boy. Oh, we can get in there, though. Oh, God. No. Ah! Flies all right, though. So, 1S75, we talk about, like, it's a good outdoor cruiser. Man, yeah, it keeps getting hot, though. That core temperature is alarming. I don't love that. The PID tune is not the issue. It's not an overactive PID tune. The tune is pretty chill. Yeah, I think it's the weight. These motors are asking for a lot. We're picking up a lot of weight. These are really high kV motors. But they're pretty efficient motors.
Is that 1S or 2S?
1.
2S would make it run cooler.
Yeah, but the board would explode. The board is only rated for 1S.
Hey.
Huh.
You got to take the good with the bad.
Gotta take chances. We'll put another battery through it. It feels heavy. I would almost rather leave this as 65. I think it felt quite a bit better as a 65, but outside it won't potentially be as good. In terms of flight characteristics, but in terms of like using the better video quality, it might.
Papa Ciotti loops.
Interesting. Yeah. You haven't been hit in the face with a tiny whoop today.
Yeah.
No better time than now. Ah! What, should we hit him in the face or the back of the head, chat?
Face.
Ah! Oh, we gotta do it. We gotta do it right. Go through here. Oh god, it is hard to fly this. I'm not gonna lie. There it is. Second try. Just need 2 tries. Now we'll hit him in the face.
Now I go for his face. I'll open my mouth.
Oh my god. Oh god, I almost got it through the gate as well. It looks like it's leveling out at 185 degrees. Nope, there's 187! God. Oh! There was like
I don't have to shave now.
one frame of your face on that. Oh! I think I got him on that one.
Back of the head.
Well, we'll keep trying then. There it was!
There it was.
Almost. I didn't get back through there, though. Oh, man, it's getting hot. 194, 196. Yeah, no.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Moving around.
Maybe it's just mine. I doubt it, though. We've seen this before. Oh, no, it's down to 190.
That's still hot.
Too hot.
Ooh, that's nice.
Whee! Runtime's not terrible. We're at 2 minutes, and we were doing a bunch of full throttle stuff. Oh, man. That was just skimming the ceiling. Ah. Yeah, so this will be good outside, maybe. If it, well, I mean, it's nice and cold out, so it'll be really good outside because it won't overheat like this. I did not have this overheating issue when it was on the 65 setup, and this is something that we ran into with those more powerful motors on the analog 75s, right? Those what were they? The VCI 0803 28,000s, 29,000s, 27,000s, whatever they were making the X12s overheat like this. So yeah, when you ask these things to carry too much weight, they have to make a ton of weight. They have to make more power to pick that weight up the entirety of the battery, and that creates heat. And an AIO like this, 3 minutes of runtime, not bad. So runtime is good, but again,
why are you getting that good a runtime and overheating? You would think you would get one or the other.
yeah, that's weird. That's for sure weird. That is weird.
I know why. It's after 9 o'clock.
It's after 9 o'clock. Bye! It flies decent. It really does. It definitely feels heavy, but it is heavy. And so what I'm going to do is pull the AIO back off, and I'm going to file down that post that the USB is coming really close to. Let me show you guys that one more time to make sure that that's not the issue. The back of the USB here. The back of the USB. Come on, you bastard. Is... There we go. Well, now the light's in the wrong spot. I need to rotate it like this to get the light in there. There you guys go. See it? So you can see where I filed it down. That might be touching. Essentially hard mounting the AIO. And that could be sending a bunch of vibrations into the gyro, and then the PID loop gets upset, but it's not flying like the PID loop is upset, but still, it's not good. I can't, like, yeah, I can't make a total decision until the AIO is sitting cleanly. So that's the next step to try to figure out the core temperature warning. The PID loop is not aggressive. The motors are aggressive, though. We'll take one quick look at the filtering just to make sure there's not something super jacked up with the filtering on here, but it was totally fine on the 65mm setup. And so, yeah, we added a bunch of weight and we added much more powerful motors. Those two things create more heat. So that could be it. This AIO has a million things soldered down to it, right? And so that's going to get hot, right? And it also has HDZero on, it has a digital VTX on board. Digital VTXs get hot. Maybe this is why there are no AIO5 75mm builds. Maybe. Franz Woodrich says, "Hey, CiottiFPV, I contacted you for a build on Fiverr. If I haven't replied, I apologize. Fiverr gives me 0 notifications when people message me. If you want to talk back and forth about something, go to CiottiFPV.com. All my contact info is there. Instagram, email, Facebook, whatever. Much easier to communicate that way. Curtis Hayes says, if it's the Lux camera, you can fly in almost no light. I do have the Lux camera. If we had enough time, I was going to try to put it on tonight, but we're out of time, so we'll do that on another live stream. I got to fly this again because I got to see if I can figure out the motor heat problem. So if I come into PID tuning, so you can see that the PID tune is absolutely not all that aggressive. It's actually like really backed off. I'm kind of surprised it's not prop washing more. If you've got motor heat problems with a PID tune like this, something ain't right. There is absolutely no reason that a proper build should not be able to perform completely fine with a PID tune this sort of backed off and stock.
It's my fault.
It's because I didn't hit him in the face.
Too much spit.
This is a fairly... I can bring this down to 100 here to make sure that there's not some weird harmonic down below 125. I mean, I could pull this D-term multiplier down a little bit, but that should not be the problem. Having this at 1.2 is still fairly... sometimes it's actually better with it turned up a little bit like that. I mean, I can turn on a second notch filter in case there's some weird second resonance going on, so we'll try that. Q factor of 300, that's a very broad dynamic filter, so that shouldn't be the issue. Gyro low pass 2 of 135 with a PT2, that means it's a BMI 270 gyro. Let me save this and then we'll take a quick look at that. Yep, so the 3.2 kilohertz is telling us it's a BMI gyro. The BMI gyros are very sensitive. This is Brandon's Baked Beans, who is a brilliant black box tuner, and he actually works with, yeah, he's brilliant. This is a tuning scheme that he's developed that works well on all my other BMI gyro rigs, so this should not be the issue. Yeah, we'll do just one little tiny bit more to see if those little changes that I made help at all. Or maybe not, because the battery lead is not long enough for these batteries. Awesome! On the next live stream, you'll get to see if those changes that we just made have any effect. And I will also fly this outside and I'll play the flight footage that I told you guys that I was going to play for you of the other 1S rigs. I completely forgot. My apologies. So yeah, Sunday's live stream, we will revisit this, see if the changes I just... Oh, you know what I also need to do? Is get these propellers off of here. There's a chance that these HQ ultralight 1.6 by 1.2 bi-blades with the 1.5 millimeter drilled for 1.5 mil, there's a chance these props are less balanced than the tried and true Gemfan 1610s. So we got a bunch of stuff to troubleshoot on this to see if we can get that core temperature back under control. We'll swap props back and forth. I just made those simple changes to the filtering. That's pretty much it. Cool? Crom says, first reviews of the Mobula 7 AIO5 are coming in. Ships with brand new HQ Ultralight. Oh, tri-blades. That's interesting. So I guess they are doing a 75 mil AIO5. All right, so in theory, I can get this working. We just have to figure out what the problem is. Is the problem the propellers? Was there something weird going on with the filtering? The PIDs are not too aggressive. Is it the... Oh, that's the other thing. I need to file away at the frame a little bit more to make sure it's not hitting the USB port. So, yeah, troubleshooting on the next live stream, and I will have some footage railing this around outside because it's nice and cold out, so we won't run into those issues. Any final words of wisdom, Father?
Sorry.
Christopher Blacklight says, how much does it weigh again? 26, I want to say? Dry?
Yeah.
26.3, 26.1, 26.2, 26.1.
Make up your mind.
26.1 dry, which is not that heavy. It's 3 grams heavier than the analog setups. We'll figure it out. Thanks for hanging, friends. Somebody says, nice, Santa.
Oh, I do have a word of wisdom.
Do it.
Make sure that you put your iPhone away and blow your nose before you wipe your ass.
On that note, thanks for hanging, friends. Here is some flight footage. I don't know what it is. Well, here, hold on. I'll play it for a second. 0802. Hey, here you go. This is great. This is this frame, these motors on an analog build with the X12 not triggering the core temperature warning. So there's nothing wrong with these motors, there's nothing wrong with these propellers, nothing wrong with this frame, right? And this is what this exact build, but with analog, flies like earlier today. Enjoy, my friends! Love you, bye!
Yeah.